Agenda. I don't.
I don't either. Okay.
Let's start with Pederma overview. Liza and Brett.
So, Brett Davis is here this evening. Brett is the Chief Executive Officer for Pederma. For those of you that are not familiar with the world of acronyms and park districts, Pederma stands for the Park District Risk Management Association. And so we asked Brett to come out tonight. Pederma, as we know it as, really covers all insurance-related, provide all the services for the Park District from general liability. They even were in a health benefit program with them that actually is a really good, it's a really nice program for the employees. But there are a number of programs that Pederma provides as service to the Park District, obviously in exchange for the contribution that we make. But the actually Pederma, there's close to 200 member agencies now.
161.
And it originated in the 80s, I think it was, and it really has proven to be a really successful model in terms of risk management pools. Brett is just the second executive director of the organization, so I really just thought it would be very beneficial for Brett to come in and just give an overview of what Pederma does and allow you an opportunity to ask some questions. Brett works closely with Megan. Brett's staff, I should say, works very closely with Megan Culling, who is our safety coordinator, and ensuring that our park district, we have been an A+ accredited agency, I think, since the beginning of time. And that's something for which we're very proud. But a lot of work goes into that, and I think with risk management, there is reward. And so I think we've reaped a lot of rewards from Pederma. And hopefully we won't have to use them for anything major coming down the pike.
Yeah, we
So with that,
Both of us on that one, right?
right, I'll turn it over to Brett.
Thanks, Liza, and thank you for having me. When Liza asked me to come out, she said, well, how long do you need? And I said, well, I could give the hour version, but I'm guessing the board probably wants the 10-minute version. So
10 is good.
we'll go with the 10-minute version. A brief bit of history, as Liza talked about. We began in 1984 with 25 members. We started our property casualty program. Began the health program in 1990 with 25 members, not the same members, a few of the same. Built on the concept and some philosophies that I think at that point in time still hold true to today. So I just want to reiterate some of those. At the time in 1984 was during an insurance crisis where park districts could not get commercial insurance. They were having to take out swimming pool or diving boards and swings and things like that. And the 25 members came together and said, essentially, we want to be able to control our own destiny. But if we're going to do that, we have to do something different. And that something different is a focus on risk management. So that concept of risk management, controlling costs through risk management, is really what started us as a pool and has made us successful. We do it in the property casualty program, do it in the health program as well. They also looked at the pooling concept as a long-term solution to managing risk. They acknowledged at the point in time it might not always be the cheapest, but it's going to be the best value in the long run, the best way to control your own destiny, and the best way to introduce stability over the long term. They also looked at this from the concept of wanting to assist members to say, all right, how can we help the members do what they want to do? Not put exclusions in place, not put limitations in place from a property casualty coverage document, but be able to say, let's help the members do the things that they want to do, all through this emphasis on risk management and wellness. Very specific. So our whole business is just Illinois-based park districts, forest preserve districts, and special recreation districts. We don't do anything outside of Illinois. We don't do anything outside of the recreation sector. So all the programs that we develop are specific to our members. We're a nonprofit entity essentially organized under the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act in Illinois. So we're a nonprofit intergovernmental risk management pool. That's what our structure in life is. Member-owned and member-governed and controlled. And I'll get into that in a little bit more detail as we talk. The mission of the organization has taken those philosophies that we started life with and really put them directly in front of us. So Pederma partners with members to promote safety and wellness, protect and preserve property, and reduce losses. So that's what our mission is. The vision that we have as an organization is to have safety and wellness integrated into the decisions and lives of our members. So I hope that you're seeing this picture that I'm painting and contrasting Paderma from a conventional insurance company. We're not here to just pay claims. We do that, but we're here really to help prevent claims, whether those are health claims or whether they're property casualty claims. That's what our focus is in cooperating with our members. So today, as Liza had mentioned, we have grown to 161 members, again, all Illinois based. We have 158 in our property casualty program, and we have 91 in our health program. The organizational structure, here's where the members are really an integral part of our governance process. So we have 3 tiers of a governance process. We have a membership assembly. So we have 1 member from each of our members of the 161 that serve on this membership assembly. They're the ones that have control and the ability to make changes to our contract and bylaws. They also elect our board of directors. We have a 7-member board of directors that are all employees of the Paderma membership. Here, Liza is the membership assembly representative. Then each of our 2 programs, so we have 2 separate distinct programs, our property casualty program and our health program. Here at Highland Park, you participate in both of those. We're actually founding member of the property casualty program. You started the health program in 1992, so you're long-term members of both of those programs. So each of the programs has a separate program council that approves the coverage, the plan design, the annual budget, and then we have some agency procedures as governance documents that those program councils are in charge of as well. Then we have the board of directors, which is really the strategy setting group of the organization. I report directly to the board. They interact with the members. And then we have agency policies that the board is responsible for setting. We have some board committees and operational committees. Board, traditional committees of audit, nomination, election, management, and personnel. We have operational committees, claims, finance, education, training, health benefits, risk management, and wellness. Here at Highland Park, you actually have 3 representatives that participate in those Paderma committees. Megan's on the Education and Training Committee, Annette on the Finance Committee, and Renee is part of our Health Benefits Committee. So those committees are really, the staff and the committees work directly together. If we're going to make changes to the coverage document, if we're going to make changes to the plan design, starts with staff, goes to the committees, and then it goes to the program councils for approval. So that's really how we talk about that member governance and member ownership and control. The pooling concept, similar to an insurance company, from pooling the finances together to be able to pay claims. We self-insure, so we collectively self-insure, then we go out to the commercial market and buy reinsurance. We use those funds that the members contribute as well to develop risk management and wellness programs. We manage our claims, provide defensive lawsuits. Those are all things that are part of those pooling concepts. The benefits that the Paderma members see as a result of the pooling is some of those services that are very directly customized to our members, the park and recreation entity. We work directly with our members, so we don't work through a broker process. None of our members have a broker, whether it's through the health program or the property casualty program. The relationship that we have is directly between our staff and our members. So the claims process, the risk management process is not through a third-party brokered process. It's our staff working directly with your staff, and we think that that's a real benefit to the relationship. The savings that there is, so it's a member-owned pool, any savings that there is, it's actually owned by the members. So if we were to fold up shop today, all the money that we have as net position gets returned to the members. We don't intend to fold up shop, so we return to the members in different ways. A lot of it's through stability, whether it's through the health program or the property casualty program, and I'll talk about that in a little detail a little further along. And then one of the things that we look at, the members, all boats rise with the tide and fall with the tide, that the members share in this risk process, and that any given member can have a bad loss year. And our goal is not to overly penalize a member, whether it's from the health program or the property casualty program, because they have a bad loss year. That we're looking at this and saying, all right, we're trying to work together to prevent those losses, but we don't come in and say we're going to cancel your coverage, we're going to remove you from the risk pool. Our dedication is to really work with the members to try to prevent those losses in the future. The expectation that we have from the members, and there is an expectation, but they're relatively minimal, attend a program council and participate in the annual membership assembly meetings, to submit the annual audit and other information that we need for budgeting, census for the employees so that we can get you on the right plan and charge you, cooperate with the Paderma staff and individuals who represent us, report claims in a timely manner, follow our loss reduction and loss prevention procedures, and then for the property casualty program, achieve at least an 80% on the loss control review. I'll talk about the loss control review in a minute, but that's kind of the minimum benchmark that all members have to achieve. So the property casualty program, I had talked about 158 members. Just to give you a little context of the scope of those 158 members, they own or lease about 170,000 acres. They have about $5 billion in property values. The annual payroll is about $455 million and about $900 million in operating expenditures. It encompasses about 5,000 full-time employees, and then in the summer, and you can appreciate this, it blossoms to about an additional 40,000 part-time and seasonal employees to operate in the summer. So the property casualty program has about a $22 million budget that we have for operations as well as for loss fund. The coverage associated with that, and once you belong to the property casualty program, these are all coverages, so all members have exactly the same coverage. It's general liability, auto liability, employment practices liability. The limits per occurrence are $21.5 million. We have a property coverage that includes crime and boiler and machinery. The general all risks property coverage has $1 billion per occurrence limit. We have workers' compensation coverage, and I should back up for a second. There's no deductible for the Park District on the liability coverages. There's a $1,000 deductible per occurrence on the property coverages. The workers' compensation, it's statutory coverage, so workers' compensation is determined by the workers' compensation state statute. So the coverage that the Park District has through Paderma matches what's required by statute. Again, no deductible for the Park District. We have pollution coverage, $5 million per occurrence. Depending on whether it's a first or a third-party coverage, there's a $1,000 deductible there. We have cyber liability coverage as well that has a $1,000 deductible, and those limits are depending on the type of cyber loss, either $1 million per occurrence or $2 million per occurrence. The claims are handled by the Paderma staff. We have 2 attorneys on staff, and I think one of the highlight services they provide, we call it the helpline, essentially a human resources employment liability line, that any member of the Park District can call and talk to one of our attorneys to help with some pending employment claims. And our whole goal is obviously to avoid employment losses through that pre-loss counseling. That's no additional cost, so you don't get a separate bill for talking with our attorneys. The helpline that we have for the membership as a whole, we get about 600 calls on separate types of legal issues, employment-related legal issues. We talked a little bit about the loss control review earlier. That's where we have a requirement that all the members have at least an 80% on that process. It's essentially a measurement of the Park District's implementation of some of the Paderma loss control guidelines, which are developed from our 20+ years of experience with this process, that are best practices, kind of risk management best practices. We have a field staff person that's assigned directly to the Park District who comes out not just during the year to do the loss control review, but certainly once a year is available via phone, email to consult with Megan or any of the other staff who may need some assistance with any risk management programs that pop up. So the Park District actually, it's a minimum 80%. Your last loss control review was in 2015. It was a 97.6%. So it's an outstanding performance on the loss control review process. It really shows the dedication to that. The final thing I'll talk about with the property casualty program is our rate stabilization. So we have about $59 million. By we, I mean the membership has about $59 million in net assets. It's about 43 in the health program, the other 16 in the, 43 in the property casualty program, the other 16 in the health program. For the property casualty program, instead of returning that money to the member as an annual check, we do it annually through a rate stabilization process. So essentially, the rates that the Park District pays today, and this is true for all members, is the same today as it was in 2001. So we fixed that rate in 2001. So just think about it in this context, that if you have $100 in payroll, in 2001 we charged you $1 for that $100 in payroll. Fast forward to 2018, you still have that $100 in payroll, you're still paying $1 to Paderma. So that's something that we're particularly proud of, to be able to stabilize the rates for the members like that. Now, your contribution to Paderma has likely increased because you don't have that same $100 in payroll. Your payroll might be $200 now, so your contribution could have doubled in that 18-year period of time, but your rate per exposure is the same. and that's true for all lines of coverage. So that's how we're returning the money to the members. Since we started the program, it's a bit over $30 million that has gone back to the members. It equates to about a 12% discount, so you're paying about 12% less than you would have, what our actual costs are for the pool as a whole as a result of the rate stabilization program. So I'll finish by making a few comments about the health program. So in the health program, we have 91 members. We have 2,500 covered lives. The health program operates with about a $38 million budget. That's for losses as well as administrative costs. We offer really two main parts of the medical program. It's a PPO program through the Aetna network. We have 6 deductible options that can be matched with 4 different health reimbursement account options, so that ends up being about 20-ish options from a PPO standpoint that the members can choose from. The claims for the health program, so on the property casualty side, we handle our claims in-house. The health side, we actually contract with a third-party administrator. Currently, it's CoreSource. But we do have 2 customer service people that are Pederma employees that can serve as a liaison for either the individual employee or for the Park District staff to be able to call if there are questions that they need some help with, some interpretation, reading an explanation of benefits, whatever it might happen to be. Our staff are available to help with that process. We offer an HMO program through Blue Cross Blue Shield, dental through Delta Dental, and then there's vision, life, and an employee assistance program as well. So those are probably kind of traditional types of coverages. One of the things that I think really sets us apart is our PATH program. It's Positive Activities Towards Health. It's a very robust wellness program offered in conjunction with a partner vendor, Interactive Health. So all the benefits eligible employees have access to an online portal. They can do a personal health assessment. Each one of our members has an on-site biometric screening, so all the benefit-eligible employees can participate in that on-site biometric screening. They get the results real time. They can meet with a health coach real time. If they have ongoing needs that are identified through that biometric screening process, the health coach is available telephonically to be able to consult and help, whether it's eating, exercise, whatever it might happen to be. That's one of the things that we think we're really making an impact with the membership from a wellness standpoint. The employees do become eligible for cash incentives as well. So as they participate in the screenings or the educational resources or the other wellness activities, they earn points, and at the end of the year, those points translate into a dollar amount, up to a maximum of $400 on an annual basis that the employees can become eligible for. In 2017, we had 74% of our eligible membership as a whole receive some type of PATH incentive. It may not have been the full $400, but it was some type of PATH incentive. So I think that's one of the things that's a big highlight for the program. One of the other parts of the program, and I'll close with this, that I'm particularly proud of, for the property casualty program, we've been able to stabilize rates. For the health program, it's not realistic for us to be able to do that. But for the last 3 years, our average rate increase has been less than 3%. So I'm pretty proud of the fact that as a pool as a whole, we've been able to focus on wellness. We've been able to focus on trying to keep administrative costs and managing the claims as effectively as possible, that those rate increases have been low single digits for the last 3 years. So that's probably close to maybe a little over my 10 minutes, but it's in the neighborhood. So I'll close by thank you for being a long-term and active member of Pederma, and certainly would answer any questions that you might have that I might not have hit on.
I just have a couple, just briefly, because I know probably least about it. So you're Illinois focused, you mentioned. Do you get national input? I guess there's a kind of 2 points to it. Are there other Pedermas in Illinois? Are there other Pedermas outside of Illinois? And do you caucus with them? You mentioned best practices. Do you get your advice from other Pederma type groups or from other insurance type groups?
So let me answer the question first. There are other pools in Illinois. So there's actually another pool that does park districts. I talked about most of our members are central and north. There is another park district pool that does more of the southern part of Illinois. There are other school district pools, village pools in Illinois, and throughout the U.S. as well. There are several hundred risk pools similar to PDERMA. And oddly enough, there's an association, the Association of Governmental Risk Pools. That's our national, it's our national association. So we are an active member of AGRIP, that's what we call that, to get some of the best practices. A lot of those best practices are probably more health program related. We have more of a national presence to be able to influence some of the health program things on that large basis. Our best practice things here are, since they're very specific to our membership, we rely on our members as subject matter experts and then our own risk management staff to develop programs.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
I'm good.
All right. Thank you.
Brett.
Thanks
I'm
again.
glad
for
Glad we
appreciate
took
it.
more than 10 minutes. This was a
Yeah,
good.
very
Yeah, and-
enlightening and very
We weren't
helpful.
timing.
Well, I was starting to sweat a little because I could tell it was close.
No, this was
But
great.
no, thank you very much. Truly, thank you for being a long-term member of PDERMA and an active participant and allowing the staff to have the time to actively participate in our committees. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I would just make a couple of brief comments, is that it's been a terrific relationship with PDERMA. I think one of the things that's nice about PDERMA is they're kind of a 911 for us, whether it's a loss that we need to discuss, particularly a 911 when it comes to employment issues. Brett talked about the helpline, but they also provide a wonderful training program for everyone in managing staff, and the attorneys that they have on staff are terrific about working if we have challenging situations with employees, no matter what the topic be, providing advice on workers' comp to protect the agency. So I think that the services that they provide in that regard are terrific. Their health program is extraordinary. However, for reasons that I can't explain, the Park District of Highland Park we are not with your overall average of 74% that participate in the PATH program. And it's really, it's such a great program because you're basically getting a lot of health screening and a lot of health advice, and you're getting paid to do it if you participate in the programs and so forth. It's something that we can't force upon our employees. It's something that we strongly encourage, particularly given the lifestyle that, we promote. But it is something that each year as we go through the program, we are trying to encourage more of our staff to participate. And that's the only thing that from my perspective as the overseeing the agency, and really with the regard that I have for people's health, and it's just something that I wish we had better participation in, but we will continue to keep trying. But
That's all
it's
we can
been,
do. You're right. We
I
can't
think
force
it's been a
employees.
good
We can-
relationship, and as Brett mentioned, Annette's involved, Megan's involved, and Renee is involved, and I'll be at the membership meeting, assembly meeting on Thursday.
Fantastic.
So,
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You good? Great. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
thanks, Brett.
Thanks.
All right, next, Lakefront Master Plan.
Do you want to wait for a calendar now?
Lakefront Master Plan is going to be pushed off to the side for now.
We're coming back to it.
Well, Mr. Bernstein wants to be here for that, and his kid got his first varsity hit, so he might not be here right away. So Parks Operations, Golf Operations, Construction Update, Jeff Smith to present.
I agree. Thank you, and this will probably be my briefest update, just kind of a follow-up from some of the outstanding items we talked about last month. So there was the parking lot that was not completed yet, also landscaping that wasn't completed at Pogo due to the weather. Now that things have warmed up, we will be starting to finalize the parking lot tomorrow. The plan is that we should have it done by the end of the week or early next week. And as far as landscaping goes, a number of our trees have come in. We're starting to put those in. We have another shipment we're waiting on, so in a few weeks we'll finalize that. We'll be able to finalize the landscape plan and provide the proper screening for the neighbors adjacent. And we're also putting in an epoxy flooring coating in the upper level garages, so we started that today. So a lot of activity over there right now. And then as far as an update on the demolition for the current Parks garage, we've been able to disconnect all the utilities. It's ready to be demolished. We are just finalizing scheduling, and the plan is to start either at the end of this week or the beginning of next week, and we have sent out notification to all the neighbors about that. And that process will be about 3 weeks. We'll start with taking the underground fuel tanks out, and then we'll start to take the buildings down.
Excellent.
And that is it. Any questions?
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Cal, and have something.
Yeah, I was going to play the role of Cal and ask if he had informed the neighbors, but he said that.
Okay. Sunset Valley Golf Course, Ryan and Brian. The update.
Good evening.
Yes, it is.
All right, we got some pictures to share, so find those. There we go. Well, again, beginning with the end in mind, there's what our
Are you
clubhouse.
seeing it?
Wait, hold on.
We're not seeing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna see it because that computer just dropped off the
Oh,
internet.
Okay.
I have to review it, so.
Should we move it a little closer?
Never mind.
You want us to move it a little closer? You get.
No,
So-
well, wait, then Rebecca and Dan and Jeff.
It was
can-
fine the way, it was fine.
the way it is.
Okay.
So everybody can see it.
So last month when we met, I talked about demolition because that's really all we were doing was demolishing the building. Since then, demolition has been completed, so it's rather exciting because now we're starting to see some construction. Things have been moving pretty quickly the past few weeks, and then will continue to move very quickly over the next few weeks, and we will see some significant changes. They're not like really exciting, but I will say the framing is currently going up. It's almost completed for the drywall. So next week there will be drywall almost completed, probably end of next week. But you can start to feel the space when you go in there. You can see where the walls are going to be, and soon the drywall and the ceiling will be going in. I have some pictures, for example, these steel beams. They've come in and been installed in the ceiling, so there were beams removed, so this allowed the ceiling to be raised a little bit and to be level. So really, structurally speaking, everything is really in place. This is a picture of the fireplace, and it's not exciting right now either, but you can see there is the new doorway to the right, which enters into the back bar area where food will probably be delivered. And this is office here for Rob and Cole. And so you could see a lot of patchwork was done. This CMU block was behind drywall, and there had to be a lot of patching done in the process here. So they've gotten through pretty much all of that. And like I said, in the next few weeks, we're going to see a lot of progress. On the outside, there was some new drainage lines put in. This will help to bring the water away from the building. We did have a little bit of water in the basement in the past, but this will help make sure all the water. This is actually where the old asphalt path was, on the north side of the building.
Behind 9 Green.
Yeah, behind 9 Green. So that path is no longer there anymore. That'll be all grass. So it'll be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing from the coming off of 9. So, but we had some underground lines put in to help bring the water away from the building. Other than that, in the next few weeks, next week they will lay the concrete for the patio. So probably end of next week, if you were to go over there, I'll explain what this is. This is actually a mock-up of what the knee wall that goes around the patio will look like. They showed us this last week and for approval, and so that the wall will begin to be built next week, that knee wall, and it's you'll see a big difference in 2 weeks from now, from the outside and the inside. It's all moving pretty quick. So from a financial standpoint, well, actually, before I even talk about, I'll do this real quick. Obviously, we had a lot more go through from WB Olson. Year to date, we've spent $510,000 with the GMP from WB Olson, a little bit of contingency, and then some other soft costs. So year to date, about $404 has been spent on the project. And everything is no big surprises. A couple small things structurally, but some tuck pointing, some things we weren't counting on, but nothing big at all. So we really haven't had to dive into our contingency too much, which has been really good. And there's going to be a lot of things on the site that are going to happen over the next few weeks. So we have the parking lot lighting is going to go to design and review next week. We had a pre-bid meeting today to go over the car barn conversion, the parking lot lighting, and the car charging stations that are going to be the bid will be next week as well. So we hopefully will begin that work the first week of June, in hopes to complete pretty much everything by June 1st, as far as the parking lot, not the parking lot, sorry, the building and the cart barn and the lights, the parking lot lights. So once those are completed, we can begin the parking lot, and then we'll get into landscaping, and by the end of July, the building should be ready to open.
That's awesome.
So.
One comment that I will make in regard to the parking lot lights is that when we sent out the demolition letter to the neighborhood, we piggybacked. There were two hot topics for the neighborhood. One was the demolition. The other was the lights in the parking lot for the golf course. We have received 2 phone calls from neighbors, and Amalia fielded one of the calls yesterday. And today she and I talked with another resident who's planning. We're just going to have an informational meeting for everyone Thursday night, just for people that don't want to attend the DRC meeting, to show them what the plan is. The lights that we're putting in fall in compliance. We comply with the village code. And one of the things that we're doing is the city is going to be adopting a dark sky policy for lighting in the community. And our plan follows dark sky. And I think that the biggest concern that the neighbors have, which is pretty typical with lighting projects, is going to be the spill off, and I can see the lights from my bedroom and all of that. So the fixtures that we have chosen, while they are 16 feet tall, they are the shoebox shine down. They meet we are minimum lighting, as minimum as we can get, and stay in compliance and be safe. So I think that once we talked with the residents and we spoke with, everything was okay, and we'll see what happens come Thursday evening and then ultimately next Wednesday.
How do the lights compare to the lights at the Highland Park High School parking lot, the one on Vine and...
I can't speak to that one, but I can tell you that they match, if I'm not mistaken, the lights that are at Pogo. So if you want to really see it, that would be the place to go. So we'll follow up with you after that meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just a quick course update. It's amazing what can change in even like a week. It seems like after that rain last week, we got just under 2 inches, and everything drained really well, but everything just greened up and instantly. This is a picture of hole number 3. And this was the first hole that was seeded last year, August 26th. And that hole is pretty close, ready to go fully. Everything's grown in. Just a few areas need to fill in a little bit more. But this hole is ready to go, and it looks great. This is number 3. This is number 2, kind of similar to number 3. Everything's growing in, filling in nicely. I'm very, very confident, a lot more confident than I was in April. But it's a lot. It's just everything. It's just amazing how everything's really greening up and filling in and coming together nicely. This is 13. So this is the new hole 13 that was pushed back. to extend the par 4. It's about a 450-yard par 4 from the black tees. And then this is 15.
Yeah, that's the new.
The 15. This
Yeah,
is the new
that's
team.
cool.
The detention area is off to the left and right. So the detention areas were for pogo that was put in to hold the stormwater management. That filters through a bioswale out to the Skokie River, the pogo drainage. So that is that. And that's kind of all the pictures. The biggest hurdle we're going to have is 1 and 7. Those 2 holes that were dormant seeded, but they're germinating, and it's just time. It's just time and weather and some timely rains, and they should hopefully. My goal is to have everything filled in by the end of June, and the month of July, dial everything in, get the speeds up, get the speeds where we want them for opening day.
That's excellent. Any questions? I have one silly one. What percentage of the locker rooms do we lose to make more space? Approximately.
Probably at least half.
Okay.
I guess I did have a question. You mentioned a basement. I didn't even know it had a basement. Are we using a basement still?
Oh yeah,
It's
there's.
That's for the bad people.
I mean, what's that?
For the what?
It's the dungeon.
Oh,
Well, there's actually going to be some refrigerator space down there,
Storage.
Storage.
and storage down there, and a lot of our electrical, plumbing, and.
All right.
We've had our club fit down there. If you want to regrip your clubs, to
Rob
do that
Re-
down there.
Yeah, Rob Regrip's RC is a little
Can I ask a
workstation down
golfing
there.
question?
Barney has a golfing club.
Oh, great.
Would you explain to those of us who have no clue what you were talking about what you meant by adjusting the speed?
Oh, that's the speed of the greens. So
Yeah,
if we
well.
want to, so basically we'll roll them and mow them, but it's how the ball rolls
On the putting
when
green.
you're putting on the putting greens. So we typically, most golfers like them faster. So around 11 or 12, but we'll probably keep them probably like at 10 and a half.
10 and a half.
So it's
what?
not too fast.
10 and a
On a
half.
step meter. I'll have to show you. It's a step meter.
Everywhere
Yeah,
he
this-
says, he's like,
yeah, I mean, it's a special tool that the USGA provides in the United States Golf Association that you just that helps with ball roll, and you just it's a step. It's just like it's like a ruler that you put the ball on, and then you slowly raise it up, and it measures the speed of the green. But you take the distance and you divide it by to get the ball roll.
That's when we go to Annette who does the math.
Yeah, and then you get the math, and then that's how you get speeds. And
Okay. All right.
but there's a lot of science to it. But it's
No,
better you in the field.
Now,
than-
and obviously, and I had a feeling that's what it was,
Yeah.
but I was sitting here wondering,
exactly. No.
So it's the height of the grass.
The height of the grass,
the
everything.
dampness, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, appreciate
boys.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's why I'm in the dungeon.
But now if you're watching a golf tournament and they reference
now
the
we'll know.
speed of the greens, you'll
The
know.
dungeon.
Well, last time I watched golf
All right, NSSRA, Liza, to present.
So, I was actually hoping that Craig Culp could have been here tonight because Craig Culp is actually the chairman of the board of Paderma right now. So it would have been a nice tie-in. But I do have Craig dialed up to come in. It will be tied into what I'm about to talk about to give an overview on NSSRA. But by way of background, the NSSRA administrative offices are located in Northbrook, Illinois. They are located in what I will call is, oh gosh, now I've lost my word.
Industrial park.
They're in an industrial park, thank you. The facility for NSSRA, which provides recreational services for people with physical and mental disabilities, is not accessible. There is no recreation programming space. They're limited on office space. It's the same thing that you've heard when we've come to you to say our building is not meeting our standards and we need to replace it. And NSSRA has been, we've been on this mission for some time. In fact, we identified a new building in 2010 as a priority for the organization. And it was really in 2013-14 that we identified an initiative specifically to try and secure a facility for NSSRA for administrative offices to have recreation space, et cetera, and to try and do something in tandem with a partner member. Just by way of definition, NSSRA is an extension of 10 park districts. So we actually are NSSRA, us and the other 9 park districts, 2 cities and 1 village. Funding for NSSRA comes from the special recreation tax, which allows us to pay our member agency contribution. It comes from program fees, and then it comes from outside support, more specifically the Northern Suburban Special Recreation Foundation. The member agency contribution that all of the member agencies pay is based on the size of your community, the population, and the EAV. And basically, NSSRA allows the Park District of Highland Park to provide recreational activities for all types of people. And it is something that they either have specific programs like Special Olympics, which is more of the traditional special recreation program that is segregated and not integrated, and it allows kids from our community to participate in Park District programs if they have a special need and have a companion to allow them to do so. So its mission is outstanding, and a little piece of trivia which Craig will share. NSSRA was the first special recreation association in the state of Illinois, and it was one of the first in the country. So the model is really, it's good stuff. So fast forward now to 2018, and NSSRA, actually, I do want to just reference this. In your packet, I had put the original capital and facility acquisition plan, and this is what we reviewed with the Park District of Highland Park and all the member agencies back in 2013, and we implemented the funding model for the building in 2014. So since 2014, the Park District of Highland Park has been making an annual contribution to the building fund. So speaking a little globally before I get into some next steps, we have an estimated, so the Northbrook Park District is going to be, the plan right now is for Northbrook to build what they're calling an activity center. And Northbrook and NSSRA are currently working on an intergovernmental agreement that will allow NSSRA to have share in the activity center that will provide full accessibility. It will provide private meeting space for families and staff. It will provide safe pickup and drop-off. It will provide multi-use programming and training, storage, office space, and then the foundation has identified a gym designated for NSSRA as something that they very much would like to see in this building. And so we are working on plans for that to happen. Generally speaking, we're looking at about of NSSRA's share for the building of it being $9 million. The capital plan that we presented back in 2013 and 14, we put together a funding model that it's a 25-year plan that all of the member agencies are participating in that will allow us to meet our goal of the member agency funding for the building of about $4 million. The other $5 million is going to be coming from the NSSRF. The foundation is committed to raising $5 million, and then we'll also have the sale of our existing building. So it's ironic to me because the next item on the agenda is intergovernmental agreement with the City of Highland Park for the Country Club. So NSSRA and Northbrook are kind of going through similar pains in terms of what percentage of the building is NSSRA and what's Northbrook. So in terms of where we're heading with all of this, I'm really referencing right now the memo that talked about the partnership update, and that we need to develop a funding model for, it's going to actually be a financing intergovernmental agreement for the NSSRA facility that will outline our contributions to the facility once we actually have hard numbers. The plan, the financing IGA will be presented to the Northbrook Park District. We're hoping for November 15th. We have put together a pretty aggressive calendar that will allow us to break ground in as early as August 19 or March 2020. So, as I stated, the sources of revenue for the facility will be derived from the partner agencies. That's the funds that we're contributing right now to the capital program, the NSSRA Foundation, the NSSRA fund balance, and then the sale of the current building. Now, another agreement that we will be working on is going to be a facility intergovernmental agreement between NSSRA and Northbrook. And from a construction process, we're going to need to determine what the construction costs are going to be, allocate percentages for NSSRA, and the use of what space NSSRA is using. We'll be looking at operational and capital maintenance costs. Does this all sound familiar? And that NSSRA and Northbrook as partners, we will share proportionate operational and capital maintenance costs for the facility. And then they will deal with scheduling issues in the facility and what will take place with a shared facility like what they're going to have. So in terms of action items and requirements, because since we are a partnership of park districts, villages in a villages in a city, there are some steps that we have already taken to begin the acquisition of a new building and also the sale of the existing building. So NSSRA, we've obviously, the whole facility acquisition plan really identified all the needs in the capital funding for the building. That's completed. The NSSRA staff and the NSSRA board, of which I sit on the NSSRA board, we have agreed to what we need in the facility, and we've agreed on the location. Done. Back in, I think it was in 15 maybe, and this is something, you are known as a partner board. This board and all of the other boards that make up NSSRA, we ratified NSSRA's resolution to petition the court to allow us to sell the building in the industrial park in Northbrook. Now, the next steps are that we need to approve the NSSRA board. We need to approve the financial IGA and the facility IGA. We also need you to do the same thing. And then our goal is to have these IGAs in place for discussion with all of the partner agencies in September, October. And when we get to that point, we will then have Craig Culp come and meet, and we will talk about where we are with the IGA, and we will be seeking approval, but we'll continue to keep you kind of looped into this process as we go. And then we will also eventually, hopefully, approve a contract to sell the building that's in Northbrook. So I think that in terms of where we are right now, I think NSSR is very pleased with the proposed location. It's the Ansberger property in Northbrook, Techney Road. So from a geographical standpoint, NSSRA's member agencies, and you guys got this in your orientation, but we start to the south in Wilmette, we go to the north to Lake Bluff, we go west to Deerfield, Northbrook, Glenview, and Riverwoods. So, so everything on the lake between here and Lake Bluff, and then some communities to the west. So from a perspective of central location, they feel pretty good about that. So one of the questions that we have, because Northbrook is providing the land, we're going to be having discussion on how do we make Northbrook whole for giving the land? What's that going to look like? Because we do feel very confident that the funding model that we established for all the member agencies, that the money that we're paying out of our special rec levy, that program, our goal to meet 4 million, we're all very comfortable with that. The other question mark that's out there is what happens. The NSSRA Foundation has a very aggressive campaign, and what happens if they fall short? So these are questions, and you guys, we've been through enough construction projects that sometimes you have to cut things, but we're not there. I really just tonight wanted to give you an update on where we are in the process, and that you will be starting to receive more information on this. If you have any thoughts on how we might want to consider making Northbrook whole. We're too early in the discussions right now, but it's exciting for NSSRA, it's exciting for Northbrook, and I will tell you, Highland Park is one of the biggest users of NSSRA, so there will certainly be more to follow as we move forward, but I just am curious if there are questions, you may have questions that I'm going to take back to NSSRA, or I'll share with you some of the concerns as we go down the road, because as I say, all of us right now are meeting with our partner boards to talk about this and just get thoughts, comments, questions, whatever it may be, and we'll just be in a lot of information sharing as we start to develop these agreements. So that's the NSSRA plan at this time.
Perfect. When you used "we," you were wearing your NSSRA hat.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, when I use "we," I'm wearing my everybody hat.
okay.
I'm a very inclusive person, you know, and they know that too.
Because we are NSSRA.
We are, but we are also, I mean, and there are times,
I love NSSRA.
right, but there are times when I know that I have to take off my NSSRA hat and wear my Highland Park hat and what's in the best interest for Highland Park. But I think that this is a win-win-win for everyone.
They're providing services that we cannot provide. And that is the fundamental point behind NSSRA, that we would have a large cost to provide the services.
Just the training alone.
Exactly.
The equivalent is the school districts, special education districts. So NSSRA's model is kind of the same for recreation, and there have been some agencies that have pulled out of school district pools, I guess you'd call it, because they felt they could do it more fiscally. There would be more. It would be a better fiscal decision for them. I don't know what the outcome of that, but I don't know any member agencies, because SRAs are all throughout the state of Illinois. I don't know of anyone who has pulled out of an SRA and said, we're just going to do it on our own, because of exactly what you guys just
Well,
cited.
and I can tell you that every staff member, every volunteer has to go through training once a year. We go through retraining every year. You couldn't do it without it.
I'm looking at something called NSSRA Partner Funding for the New Facility Chart.
Mm-hmm.
And
Are you,
I'm trying to figure out what page it's on, but
I'm just
Page
curious.
30.
is it page
Oh, so
30
you're
out of
in,
152?
this,
30 out of 152.
oh,
30 out of 152. And
Okay.
it's a chart that you have to rotate to be able to see it. And I'm,
does it say NSSRA partner funding for new facility?
yes.
Okay.
And the significance of the numbers here are reflective of, as I think you said, I just want to make sure, of the number of participants that come from our community.
No, it's actually the population of the community.
Oh, it's
We could be
yeah,
the
you-
biggest user, but we don't, our MAC doesn't reflect our usage. It reflects our population and our EAV.
okay. So that's why we are significantly more than Lake Bluff because
Right.
of our population size.
Right. We are, I think we're the third or the fourth largest. Glenview leads the pack, Wilmette, Northbrook, and us.
Okay. The numbers that are here, starting at 16,000 and, going up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the what is that number showing us? I see in one column, new facility costs 123, and that's spread out. But is that that'd be an annual contribution toward what?
Towards our payment, the $4 million towards the building.
Okay.
So it does not go to making Northbrook whole.
No, that's a separate piece of the equation that we are going to need to tackle in some way, somehow. Because I think that there's been some discussion, and I don't even know that I want to go down this path, about that, Northbrook is an equal partner just like all of us in terms of participating in the program and contributing to the building, but the big piece is the land donation. So that's
Is
a
this gonna be
question
a
mark.
shared facility between Northbrook Park District and NSSRA?
Yes, it will.
So that's why there's a difference of 9 million, 4 million. There's an allocation of
I
dollars.
believe that the total project budget right now is somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 million.
Okay. Okay. And the anticipated cost on this is, let's just say it's $16,000 for us in, you know, it's not a real number, but
It fluctuates.
it's a fluctuating number. And is that over and above our annual contribution?
Completely separate. So when we approved yes, it is over and above. We have our contribution, which is our member agency contribution. So when we get a bill, there are three parts to it. Member agency contribution, our inclusion costs, and then our capital contribution.
Okay. Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Cap.
All right,
Sorry I was late.
I'm gonna ask if we can recess for 5 minutes.
All right. Sorry I was late.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so we're in recess.
Me? Oh, okay. Kathy, I got here at 6:45.
I mar-
No, you didn't.
Okay.
You got
I
here at
marked you down.
6:47. She noted it
6:47.
down.
Okay, all right. I was trying to be here 2 minutes early.
Yeah.
I know that. Oh, I knew that. So what do you want to do?
Guys, first varsity hit.
I don't think anything.
I'm happy to call Michael Strohs on the side and have a conversation with him. I got no problem with that.
Hi.
She wasn't a good girl. She started gaining some weight.
About what?
We thought we were going to facilitate road graders and
Oh, it's the neighborhood meeting concept.
I'll tell you, it was surprising. And everybody who was there did a great job of explaining how these things work. I was in touch with our president, who was out of town, but I called him in.
Hopefully by the next meeting she'll be back.
He was,
She said she missed the meeting. Yeah, she missed, she wants to make sure I'm here. Thought she might.
Which president is yours? Richard Cash or,
Richard is a
is
president
he's the
for the
homeowners?
homeowners.
And then
Les
Lester Weinstein,
Weinstein.
yes. He's the building, yes.
Isn't there an overall association of two that come together?
Oh, you missed the whole Padron.
Yeah, we've got ourselves
Screwed up.
That took you 6
well, it was done many years ago.
Brian with these
But
insurance.
the idea is
Perfect for him.
Yes, I noticed that.
when
Yeah.
Kansas City scored 10 in the first.
and I called this.
Who would you give up other than
Oh, we already gave him all. Torres.
We have a really good picture.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't.
Are you kidding me?
I didn't bring my glasses, so I can't read anything.
26 years old?
But are you gonna resign him? That's why. But,
I think we're a little early.
if you don't get him, I don't wanna give him too much for him.
Yeah, he would have to agree to
I just
sign.
wanted to express our appreciation for what you taught us. And we want to engage in some kind of exchange of information. Because we've got people that are completely out of the loop, and we've got other people that are very interested.
Oh, thank you.
Sure, just give us a little more head.
No, she'll be
We
fine.
want to make the final terms of our agreements with the city, which we're going to talk about. Bring those to there, and then we have our planning process. So we're a little bit ahead of the game, but we will. Sure. We can do it. We can do it.
She thought it was
right.
broken.
Hand sick. Marlo was fine, you guys?
You know, it's funny, I was thinking about, he doesn't have a phone.
Cal's in the back.
I was thinking, you know how like cab drivers historically have those wooden seats?
I know.
I don't know what you could do.
I think it's a combination. Like the better.
I know what you're going through.
But you'll still have to drop call sign, at least unless you're calling the iPhone. Because they'll talk over the wireless. But that's the only one.
The intergovernmental agreement? Yes.
I would like to go. So there's nothing.
Okay, let's get started.
I think I just saw Cal Pocus. There he is.
I'm gonna go out of order again,
Why?
because Mr. Grossberg would like to hear the intergovernmental stuff.
Okay. Then Amalia will wait.
I mean, it starts now, but.
Let's go back.
Stuffed animal.
I have a big pillow in my car.
Compromiso, señor.
What time's the cutting sir?
All right.
And that's standing the whole meeting.
I don't have my glasses, so it's not.
Another easy one.
I'm assuming you want me to lead and you'll chime in. Okay. Because I have, I added some notes.
I have everything too.
All right.
Okay. We're going to go out of order again,
Questions.
and we're going to do
We're
the
doing HPC.
Highland Park Country Club intergovernmental agreement.
Sunset Valley?
Liza and I to present, and I'm not sure how.
How are we going to present that?
They'll lined it up in your computer transfer agreement, tree nursery, lot 3, lot 4. I believe it
I'm
was.
not really sure how we should go through it, because I'll give an overview and then, as a group, decide. For the last,
You looking at me?
oh,
I mean, my.
no,
What am I asking for my suggestion, or?
everybody read the agreements.
Well, I haven't read the latest draft. I just got this afternoon. I didn't have a chance to read them.
Okay.
But my understanding is these are not the final drafts.
That is
Correct.
correct.
So I was gonna wait till I get the final ones before I spend the time reading them.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to read something that's not not up to date.
Yeah,
Sure.
We're just
Well,
updating you from last
Okay.
week.
Right, you were just gonna give us some.
Why don't, I would like to suggest, if you're so inclined, to give an overview of what the various documents are.
Okay. We have, me, you, me.
Whatever you like.
I'll go in order.
Good call,
As-
Barney.
Everybody knows we have been talking to the city for, let me rotate this, on and off for a couple months, more than a couple months, about purchasing the golf course and the land and what we're gonna do with it. As a result of the purchase, there's 4 agreements that are involved with the land and the purchase. One is the purchase of the country club golf course itself. One is the shared use agreement for lot 4, which will be the building, the parking lot, including banquet operations and general maintenance of the facility. There's a lease agreement for lot 3, which will address the arrangement for the park district to operate the learning center, the driving range, the mini golf, and the transfer of the dome. And the 4th agreement is the city had asked for, and we had agreed upon, a 4-acre tree nursery to be left on the property, bless you, so that the city can grow trees and replace what it needs to.
Was that a new agreement?
It's a new agreement.
No, we haven't seen previous drafts of
Right,
it. Okay.
right. We decided to do it as a separate agreement.
Okay, so now this is the separate agreement that's the draft.
And so what we've been doing is trying to work out every last little detail. I met with the mayor last week. Mayor Liza Geet and I met. We have really come to agreements on 95% of the terms. The 2 lawyers are still working out some final language, and we hope to convene with the city at their May 29th meeting and have a joint meeting where we can not discuss the terms, but present it to the public, a final agreement. Please check your calendars.
So from what so I understand is that there's a couple outstanding items.
Correct.
Do you need any direction from us with regard, because you've been handling the negotiations, so, and doing a great job doing it, so, but is there anything you need, any input you need from us on the outstanding issues? Or are you
It's
pretty
all
much,
things we've discussed.
okay,
We're not really going off script. The biggest one is, the stormwater management and what will happen to the property and happen to us if we get too much of the land taken from us. Unfortunately, it's hard to guess and predict what will be needed, what will be asked for, what might be used, and it could come out to be nothing. I think they looked at it in 84.
83, but
83 was the last time
this is the Army Corps we're talking
the
about?
Army Corps came out and looked at it, and we don't know if that plan is still good or what they want to do. We have talked to the city about leaving the connectivity alone as best we can in our paths, and we're all going to work to that common goal, but
So-
it
we've
could
talked,
be 20 years down the road.
and we've talked with Hay and Associates and our planning team, recognizing that stormwater management is such a vital component that in doing the design and knowing that stormwater management is more targeted for the northwest corner of the property, that we can be mindful of that in our planning. And
Here's my suggestion is that on the 22nd, do we have a lot on our agenda? That's our next meeting.
that will probably mostly be approvals that won't require a lot of discussion because they will have already been previously discussed via the budget. So I don't see anything.
The audit presentation.
And the audit, and the
Okay.
finance committee meeting is meeting tomorrow morning to review the audit with the auditors. So it should be, we also have our annual meeting.
Yes, that doesn't take
Yeah.
very long. Here's my suggestion, if it's okay with the rest of the board. Hopefully by the 22nd, if we're meeting with the city on the 29th, is the purpose of the meeting on the 29th to approve to the agreements?
Have it done,
Have it done, so we're going to have a joint meeting to approve them that night?
to approve it.
Here's my suggestion. On the 22nd, because these are not final drafts yet, because the lawyers are still working on
Right.
the language. My suggestion is that on the 22nd, which will be on camera, the staff make a presentation summarizing the agreements, because hopefully they'll be in final form at that point. So we can have a presentation from our staff, have our corporation counsel here in case we have any questions. It'll be in a public setting, and then anybody who's in the audience can hear about the agreements. They'll be on the website, and then and also anybody can watch it on TV. And so if anybody has any issues or concerns as it relates to the Park District's view of these agreements, then we could hear from the public, and we can hear from the commissioners on that night also. Then we can coalesce whether we're okay with it. You're not going to be here?
Right.
Okay. You're not going to be here that
I will
night?
not be here,
Okay.
So much for that idea. What do you want to do? I mean, that's my suggestion. I think we should have, before we vote on them in front of the
I agree.
city council, I think we need to have staff and our corporation council make a presentation to us. And I know we spent a lot of time on these agreements
We haven't done it
in open
in
session.
open session.
And I think we need to do that in order to get the community input.
Should we move the meeting then to maybe Wednesday night to have
Do we have,
Commissioner
Bad time
Grossberg
of
here?
year.
unless it's late.
The 23rd, we have our lakefront open
Oh,
house
I-
that night, so there's not a lot of flexibility in moving unless we did it Monday.
Well, we don't have to figure that out now,
Right.
but we should all,
and I hate to say this, but I hate to, can we wait till tomorrow to schedule it? Because the
Yeah.
the playoff schedule comes out tomorrow.
okay.
Okay, I mean, I have priorities, okay?
Let's also take into consideration Commissioner Flores Weisskopf's schedule.
Yes.
Because her participation for that would be important.
Yeah, so we have to find, the playoff schedule comes out at 4:00 tomorrow, so I'll have an idea that, so if we could,
Get some dates, we'll all give Liza some dates.
we'll give some dates. Okay, and then, and then we could have actually, probably better do it at a special meeting, so there's nothing else on the agenda, and I still think we should do it on camera also.
I agree. And we
Okay.
don't have to start at 6, we could be more flexible on time.
We can be more flexible in time. What?
And I think also, Cal, to your point, and excuse me, Brian said this, these are not the final iteration. There's still language coming from council,
Correct.
and I'm sure
We're hoping
that,
to have it at the end of the week.
okay, I'm sure that, this might be a good draft to read and provide thoughts to Brian.
This draft or the next
I
one?
would suggest this draft to provide thoughts to Brian that could then be implemented.
Okay. All right, so I will give it to Brian here. I will read the drafts that were just circulated this afternoon, and then, and it's a red line too, so that should make it easy.
Right.
Okay, so hopefully. And so then,
Because the red and yellow is the only things that are new.
okay, and then we should set up a special meeting so we could have, on camera, so we can
Just
get,
discuss.
just discuss this, have a presentation from staff, have a presentation from Corporation Council, allow for public comment with regard to this, and then we can actually have discussions, or we can ask questions at that point also.
Okay.
I think that's probably the
So
best
what
way to
I'll
do
have
it.
Liza do, or why don't we all email Liza with bad dates in the
Okay.
next 2 weeks?
Okay.
Gotta
I've
write
had a
it
lot of
down,
bad
bad
dates, I
dates.
should say.
Okay,
Okay?
that was simple.
All my dates were bad. Cal,
Now
did you just
now
say
you
you
ready?
had a lot of bad dates? Excuse me for doing this. High five there.
Not recently, though.
Lakefront Master Plan Update Report, Amalia Schwartz, 2%.
Okay. So, in 2007, as many of you know, we did the Lakefront Master Plan, and that was a very large undertaking from what I've heard and what I understand. And what that plan did was provide a roadmap for improvements along the lakefront, our parks, our beaches, our ravine ecosystems, and it was a collaboration with the city as well. Greenprint 2024 called for an update to the Lakefront Master Plan because the priorities of the community have changed. Our lakefront has changed primarily because of Rosewood. So we are following that recommendation of Greenprint and looking back at our lakefront plan to do a Lakefront Master Plan update. So this is just a look at what our lakefront plan looked like, the 2007 lakefront plan. And the right side, you can see, it just goes back to what I was saying. It was looking at all of our parks, the themes of the different parks, looking at it as a whole picture. So our first step in approaching this update was to go back and look at what we've completed and the recommendations that the 2007 plan had put forth. So we've completed a lot since 2007. So this is a picture of Moraine Park Sculpture Walk and Garden. We did a lot of restoration work at our parks. This is a picture of Millard Park. And I'm going to, Rebecca's not here, but we've put in, oh, there you are. I couldn't see you. We've enhanced our fish habitat, and if you have questions, Rebecca can probably answer those better than I can. And Rosewood Park and Beach Development, which I think is the crown jewel of our efforts since 2007 for the community. And then Park Avenue Beach, the conversations that we've had with boating to make sure that that's still available for our residents. So looking ahead, our lakefront parks and community priorities have changed, like I said, and so since we're going to look at how to plan for the future. So the Lakefront Master Plan update is a reprioritization of lakefront goals. The Park District will take the information that we hear through our community outreach process to inform the direction of the future lakefront efforts. So it's not a we are not going back and doing the same large community outreach planning effort that was done in 2007. This is an update to the existing plan. So we're going to be looking at the goals, what we've accomplished since 2007, what we haven't accomplished, what has changed so that we can reprioritize our goals and the direction we want to move forward. So our planning process for the Lakefront Master Plan update, and I apologize, these colors did not look like this on my computer, so we're starting with the preparation and the data gathering. So that started last year in April, and we're finishing that up now, moving into community outreach. What that looked like was internal assessment, looking at what the recommendations were from 2007, what we had done, what we hadn't done, what had we explored, and decided were not a good fit for us. We looked at external factors. We looked into what were the stakeholders for this project and our strategy moving forward. So starting in May this month, at the kickoff, the open house meeting, we're kicking off the community outreach. We're going to be doing listening tours. We're developing a survey as the primary means to collect the data from our community and collecting input from our community. That survey will be open for 4 months, and we'll be going around to all of our different lakefront parks. We'll have the surveys at our facilities. So we'll be doing like a listening tour this summer. We'll also be doing our digital campaign, which will be articles online. We'll be doing a survey online as well as the survey on paper for residents. So the next 4 months are our community outreach. And then fall 2018, we'll be doing the plan update, so taking the information that we've gathered through community outreach to prioritize our future goals. And then plan approval, implementation, and evaluation. We're aiming for year-end 2018, and then evaluation will happen post-approval of the plan. Any questions? Yeah.
Do we have dates for the open houses?
Yeah, the open house is May 23rd. That's the kickoff. For the listening tour, no. I'm using the word grassroots. It's going to be going out to the parks when people are at the parks. So we have not set those dates yet, but we will, and we'll post them on the website.
So do you mean to suggest then that you'll show up at Rosewood and go to people and say, hi, do you like the facility? Is that what you meant by grassroots? Or
Yeah, we'll be at the park. We'll probably set up a table. We'll have the surveys there for people to fill out. We'll be there to answer questions, talk about the development that we've done thus far, and then get people's feedback and ask for residents to fill out the survey so that we can have that more formal way to collect information and quantify it.
Do you need any of us there May 23rd, or Amalia here May 23rd if we're going to discuss the intergovernmental agreements?
As staff, I think we would all like to be at the
Right, so
lakefront.
then the 23rd is a bad night.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fine. I just want to.
And you're going to publish that so we can all go?
Yep. We are doing a lot of electronic messaging on this. We have a specific invite on the open house that we're sending out to all of our database at the end of this week or early next week. I just don't remember what the date is, but yeah, we're going to do a lot of messaging on this.
Is there any point where we're going to discuss funding mechanisms for this plan? How's that going to fit into it?
So that's going to be part of the implementation section of the planning process, looking at once we develop what the goals and objectives, the reprioritization of those goals and objectives are, we'll look into funding opportunities and how we might actually implement those goals and
I
objectives.
know that we have some funds allocated in Greenprint for lakefront improvements. Correct, no?
No, we have funds allocated for planning,
Oh, planning?
but we do not have any earmarked for lakefront.
Okay, I will.
It's definitely a track 2
Okay.
concept, so.
I will point out that when I got on the board that I inherited this 2007 plan, and it was it allowed us to develop Rosewood, because without this plan, when the funds became available through the Great Lakes, whatever that funding mechanism, we had a plan that was able to be implemented in government terms in a short term, because we had a plan together. So it is a worthwhile exercise to do this, because you never know when funds are going to be available. But for the fact that we had this 2007 plan, we would never have been able to do Rosewood. So
And they've just released more, the Gliffer Fund, or it's actually the Clean Water Act, I think it is, that shockingly, more money has been released. So we are keen to that and looking for
I
opportunities.
mean, I was going to bring that up. That part of the latest budget reconciliation bill in Washington is that not only do they fund it, but I think they exceeded what the initial request was for the funding for that program that we used to develop Rosewood. So obviously, we're always looking for those funds. We have people, figuring out how to do that. But I think this is a worthwhile exercise. We've accomplished a lot at the lakefront, and we're probably the only community that has 4 beaches, right?
Winnetka has 5.
Well, okay. We're
second.
We're second.
Trust
But we're
me.
second. We're the
We
second
have-
city.
Yeah, I mean, we have a very, there's only 14 communities in this, and we probably, outside of Chicago, have one of the biggest stretches, for sure.
So I think this is a worthwhile exercise. I'm looking forward to the process.
And I'll also note, thank you, that the successes that I mentioned here are just a few of them, and we are compiling a nice brochure that highlights what we've done since 2007. So that's going to be coming out, and our communications department is putting together it looks really great. So that will be introduced at the open house. So we're excited to.
And I can tell you that the 2007 plan, although it was wonderful at Rosewood, was grandiose elsewhere, which included a marina and other things that were just unrealistic. So I'm glad that we're going to be updating and revising it so that we have a realistic lakefront plan instead of
A marina?
a plan that's going to cost $50 million.
And a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ready? Review of vouchers.
Bills presented for the board's review this evening are checks from April 21st through May 3rd, totaling $742,699.50. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
No, I did
Um,
review. We did review.
Thank you. Thank you for reviewing them. As Liza mentioned, we have a finance committee meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Ron Amon from Lauterbach and Amon will be here to present the audit. And then at tomorrow's manager and supervisor meeting, I am rolling out the 2019 budget handbook. So tomorrow's a big day.
Excellent.
Who's coming tomorrow?
Ron.
You and Barney
Okay.
have a deposition.
Thank you.
8 o'clock, right?
8 o'clock.
Bring a Danish for everybody.
Just can you give me a 30-second update on Sunset, because I missed it? What did Ryan say? I mean, how?
Brian and Ryan said we're losing half our bathrooms. We have a dungeon.
Sorry?
7 is,
Yeah, there's a dungeon.
What?
7 is ready to golf.
growing nicely. Ryan's not here.
7 is ready to golf on.
No, it isn't. I was there yesterday. It's not.
3. 1 and 7, we're
Yeah.
hoping. The rain helped. It's growing. And we have some
Update next
markers.
month, but we're looking good for now.
So we need some Miracle Grow or something like that? Is that what we
We
need?
need some miracles.
Okay, okay.
Propecia.
Okay, all right. Thanks for the 30-second update. Thanks.
Clubhouse is gonna
I was there. They blew out the windows today. I saw that on the north.
Is there
north-
someone,
Sorry.
come late, yeah.
He's
Is there
being
someone
dis-
from the public who'd like to speak and address the board?
Being disruptive.
On the lakefront.
Even though we all know it, I gotta follow formalities.
I'm sorry.
Address and name, please.
Mike
Rank,
Sturgis,
serial number.
580 Hillside Drive, sorry. The Lakefront Commission kickoff meeting, it's the 23rd, but what time and where?
Good point.
That's a good question. I was gonna ask that.
6:30? Oh, that's right,
Rosewood at 6:30. Thank you.
correct. And trust me, you will be seeing communications on it.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
but thank you. Just wanted to tell you, sure.
Okay. You're the rest of my public. Okay. Can I get a motion to go into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Open Meeting Act? Section 2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline of the district. Section 2C5, the purchase, release of real estate, including discussion on whether a certain parcel of property should be acquired.
Yes, so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Closed
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody. Show that we adjourned at 7:28, and we will go into closed.